Hello, welcome to Newscentre. I'm Parikshit Luthra. Our focus on the first phone conversation between US President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This is for the first time that the two leaders are interacting after Trump 2.0 cabinet was sworn in the White House. Now, what was discussed? In the phone call, Donald Trump said that this was a productive conversation, and he also spoke to reporters about his thoughts on India. During a huddle with Republican congressmen at his resort in Miami, Trump singled out India, China and Brazil as tremendous tariff makers and promised to impose high tariffs on them in sectors like pharmaceuticals. While Trump did not mention any details, pharma stocks in India tumbled in trade. Trump also said that India would do what is right when it comes to illegal immigrants. Trump recently announced a flurry of executive orders to crack down on undocumented immigrants. The Indian government has agreed to take back those staying illegally in the United States. Some reports say an estimated 18,000 Indians are staying illegally in the US. That's not all. As per the White House statement, Trump also stressed that India should hike its procurement of America-made security equipment. He also said that Prime Minister Modi was all set to visit the United States in February. Petroleum Minister Hardeep Puri told CNBC-TV18 some time back that if the price was right, India was open to importing more oil from the US to mitigate the impact of US sanctions on Russia. Now, we'll discuss the contours of the India-US relationship with former Indian ambassador to the United States, Taranjit Singh Sandhu. But first, let's listen in to what Donald Trump had to say.
We're going to put tariffs on outside countries and outside people that really mean us harm. They want to, well, they mean us harm, but they basically want to make their country good. Look at what others do. China's a tremendous tariff maker, and India and Brazil and so many countries. And so we're not going to let that happen any longer, because we're going to put America first. Always put America first. That's what's going to happen.
All right, joining us right now is former Indian ambassador to the United States, Taranjit Singh Sandhu, who worked very closely with the Trump administration in their first term. Thank you very much, Ambassador Sandhu, for joining us. Now, Prime Minister Modi will be among the first worst leaders to visit the United States in the month of February. It's quite possible that they may meet on the sidelines of the AI summit in France as well. But how do you see the priority given to India, to Prime Minister Modi in the first set of phone calls and also first set of visits to the White House next month?
So Parikshit, I think you're absolutely right. There are two aspects of this early visit, this early phone call, as you have mentioned, and do remember that we did have a very early phone call in Trump 1.02. In fact, very, very early. I think one is the importance of India, that India is an important country, an important partner for the United States. And secondly, I will also underline the bipartisanship. You will recall that Prime Minister Modi was recently one of the last visitors to United States. President Trump hosted him at his personal residence in Delaware, and he would be one of the earliest visitors to United States too under President Trump. And while the visit is still to be officially announced, but we have heard President speaking on Air Force One to the journalist, and he has mentioned about that. So that will send an important message through. And I think it's also significant that they are meeting, because it's a great opportunity.
Absolutely. And, you know, when we speak about the White House statement, one point that Donald Trump insisted on and emphasized was that India should procure more security equipment from the US. What could be on Trump's wish list right now?
So let me take a little minute to explain to you the background of Trump 2.0 victory. And I think most of these aspects will fall in place. You have to remember that he has won the last election in the domestic context. And foremost in that is the domestic economy. And when we talk of the economy, he talks of really it's the cost of living, oil, bread, milk prices. In fact, the vice president in his first interview mentioned all these. If you now take a look at energy, LNG, tariffs, these are all seen as important ingredients of making the cost of living lower for his American supporters or people who voted for him, the large middle class. And from there, you can also see his desire that the relationship, he calls it the relationship, but essentially the trade should be balanced. And in that, it's also included that India should buy more LNG, oil. He has even told the Europeans that. Perhaps you know that in Trump 1.0, India started purchasing LNG from United States. So the energy sector is one important, and it was also covered in the conversation. I mean, if you look at the Indian statement, trade, defense, investments, energy, technology, these are the 5 areas which have been covered. So definitely on the defense side, what he generally appears to be meaning is that there needs to be a more balance and India should be purchasing more from United States. And when I said this is a good opportunity for both sides to re-emphasize and re-underline the important aspects of our relationship.
Right. Now, Trump in his conversation with the Prime Minister also pressed for a fair trading partnership. How can India ensure that? You know, when he was speaking to Republican congressmen yesterday, he mentioned India in the same breath as Brazil and China and said that these countries impose very high tariffs on US goods. We need to correct the trade deficit with India as well. So how do you think India can ensure that Trump gets what he wants? Because he wants a victory, as you said. He wants a victory for his domestic audience, for his domestic agenda. So what can India do to meet halfway?
So that's why, Parikshit, this early visit and this early meeting is a great opportunity where we will re-underline the importance of this partnership. And this has many dimensions. You just mentioned trade. There is a strategic dimension. There is an Indo-Pacific dimension, the reliable value chain partner, the trusted partner. And you know, just yesterday, there's been a deep talk of what we call DeepSeek, the AI competition. There again, India is going to be an important partner. Now, come to the trade. Now, in the trade, defense, investments, energy, technology, what you have already, in each of these, there is value which is brought to both sides. And here, if I may add, look, the Indian investments in United States. You may be aware that 163 companies, and this is a CII report, it's not totally comprehensive, but there are $40 billion of investments. Indian companies are creating 425,000 jobs. Similarly, Indian companies are present in all the states, you know, in critical sectors, life sciences, pharma, healthcare, IT, telecom, etc., etc. Now, all this, Indians are present. And when this meeting takes place, this is an opportunity to re-emphasize this aspect. And he also sees the bigger picture. Because I recall in his 2020 February visit, when President Trump was briefed by Prime Minister Modi about the LNG relationship, there was a visible surprise on his face. Obviously, he was not briefed on that. So our relationship has many dimensions, and trade and investment are one part of it. And I'm sure there are going to be issues where there will be give and take.
Okay, final question, sir. Very briefly, we saw India buying US crude oil, LNG, in the first Trump term. Do you expect our crude oil imports from the United States to go up substantially in the months to come?
So while I'll leave it to the experts to determine what exact amounts and what between LNG and oil, but certainly energy is going to be one sector. And he has already been, that is President Trump, has been publicly telling the Europeans. And India has earlier diversified its resources, and I'm sure we'll be happy to pick up some more of both LNG and oil. Again, all this comes in competitive markets. But here I again want to emphasize, what is the overall objective of Trump on oil and energy? He wants the cost to come down. That is cost for the domestic user in the United States. And that's also the objective which we have in India. So there are a number of areas where our objectives are very similar. And again, I will point out to the strategic side. You know, I didn't mention Indo-Pacific and things like that.
Right. Thank you so much, Ambassador Sandhu, for joining us and summing up Trump 2.0 and Narendra Modi 3.0 so very well, and where the two can be aligned. We're going to take a break at this point, but when we return, we'll get you lots more stories on the India-China partnership and also on the Delhi elections. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with much more.